Hello and welcome back friends. In this video we are going to look at how to draw charts in Excel. Of course I am not going to take you through the basic process of plotting column charts and pie charts, which I am assuming you will always be aware of. I am going to share with you some techniques by which you can combine charts, and I am also going to share with you later on how do you plot the scatter charts. So let us begin. Now this is what data that I have collected at the basic place. Let us say we are talking about a conglomerate like L&T, which is in all business segments like software, finance, engineering, manufacturing and construction, and these are its revenue points. Okay, and these are randomly chosen, not the exact revenue points, and here is where I have summed it up. Now I want first of all to calculate percentage contribution of each of these segments. After having done that, I now want to plot the chart, and I now want to plot the chart of this in a manner that revenue gets reflected in the column and the percentage contribution gets reflected in the form of line. So the process begins as usual, as you and me would do. So I will select the data points, then I will go to charts, I will select columns and I will say 2D. So please stick to 2D charts. Okay, now after having chosen this, okay, this is how the chart looks like. Okay, now this is naturally the chart. These are called as legends. So I right click on them, go to format legends, and as a standard norm I will place them on the top. Okay, now the question becomes, when I have included two items, I am able to see only one item in the form of column. Where does the other column go? Now what you need to observe is that revenue is in numbers format, whereas percentage contribution is percentage format, and both of them have been represented on the same axis. So against the revenue numbers which are very high, the percentage contribution numbers are very small, and that's why those are hidden next to this chart. To identify them, use the arrow key on this chart and you would see different components getting highlighted, and at a point of time you would see the hidden chart also getting highlighted over here. So what we do is we right click on this hidden chart and click on format data series, and then go to axis and represent it on secondary axis. The moment you do that, it becomes vividly visible, as you can see its representation on the right hand side. Now you right click on this and then say change series chart type and select line chart, and that is how you actually plot a chart in a manner that I had shared. So you can combine many more charts together instead of just having one chart or multiple charts for different parameters. So you should always say this is on RHS, so that the readers of the report in which you have included this chart find it easier to use this. Okay, now before we go ahead, I'm just trying to share a couple of more things. So let me increase its size so that it can be very well explained to you on a bigger chart. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to share with you is formatting axis. So I right click on the axis and click on format axis. I think I have clicked on something wrong, and once again just hold on. Okay, so right click, selecting the axis, right click, click on format axis, not format text. Now here you will see a lot of things over here. So what is the minimum value? So it is 0, maximum value, major unit, minor unit, so on and so forth. Only a few of them I'm going to highlight over here. Now if you look at our data points, okay, there is no need of you beginning from 0. There are no points which are very near to 0, so you can very safely say I can begin from somewhere around 5000. Okay, and I say okay, and you would see the chart size getting reduced. Okay, the next thing that you can do is broadly you would see that the major units which are getting reflected right now over here, you will understand the difference between major unit and minor unit later when we look at how to format the grid lines. So we have begun from 5000 now, and the major unit is increasing by 2000 each. Okay, so instead of that I will just say that each unit increases by 3000. Okay, and I now say okay, and there are a lot of other things actually it will change because you change that major unit value to 3000. Okay, so I'm doing this and I'm doing this. Okay, so I'm saying 5000 and then I'm saying it as 3000. Okay, now you will see the differences: 5000, 8000, 11,000, so on and so forth, and it naturally modified itself to 26,000 to fit in the major unit limit. So that is how you can modify various details over here, and then there are other options which you can explore on your own. Now next is looking at this horizontal axis. Okay, now horizontal axis, go to format axis, and one specific thing that I would like to share with you, which is the alignment. Okay, so let's keep it at middle center, and then we look at the text direction. Okay, so I say currently it is horizontal, I say it is rotate 90-degree clockwise, and you will see it will change the way it is getting reflected anti-clockwise. Okay, and then it is in a stacked manner. Okay, so best way is to reflect in horizontal manner, and it also depends on what kind of title that you are working with. You can also increase the angle or decrease the angles as you want, depending on the length of your title. Okay, so that is broadly about formatting the horizontal axis. Now I will just say okay over here because we are broadly fine with this right now. Now another key point that you should keep in mind is that normally when you before you take this chart to the report, you should always remove the lines around it. Okay, so you will click on format chart area, and under line you will say no line, and then it becomes much better chart to play with in the Word file or pages if you are working on the Mac. Now next is these grid lines. Okay, now you can simply delete these grid lines by pressing a delete on the keyboard, or you can go to chart layout, under grid lines. Here are the horizontal grid lines. Currently it is on major, and then there are minors. So what are the minors? Minors are the points which are intermediate between two majors. Okay, so if I click on majors, minors, you will see all the minor grid lines over here. So broadly, for the so that the chart looks good, it is always advised that you keep it as major. Okay, in the charts like that, you can even delete these lines so that the chart looks much cleaner. Okay, now next is how can you give labels. Okay, most of you would know this. You can just right click on this chart and say add data labels. Right click, add data labels. Okay, so it's not very difficult, it's quite easy. Now next critical point that I want to share with you is, let us say I extend this problem little bit further by saying that you want to include one more parameter over here, which is percentage growth. Okay, and I will say 12% has been the growth, 7% has been the growth, 9% has been the growth, and 10% has been the growth, whereas construction did not see much of the growth, so almost flattish growth of 1%. Okay, now simply to include this, the easiest way is you can just drag it to right, and one more line will get included in your chart. So that is the easiest way, but there is another way also which you should know, and that is what I'm going to share with you now. It is advised that you know that way as well, so that when things don't work by just dragging, you can still use the other way around. So you can right click on this chart, say select data, and then say add, and over this add you can just include the name of the series, and which is percentage growth. I think I have not chosen the right one, just a moment, hold on. So name needs to be chosen over here, so I'm just choosing the name, not worrying about data range and all. Then y values I am choosing as these ones, and x label categories are going to be similar, so I'm just clicking and selecting these x label categories. Okay, and that's it. Okay, and I'm saying okay. Okay, but in the process what has happened, you would see that the other charts just went off. Okay, so I'm just repeating this process. So right click, select data, and in this I'm just giving I'm just saying first of all add, and to this third series I am giving percentage growth as the name. Then I'm choosing the data points as y values, which are going to be essentially 12%, 7%, 9%, 10%, and 1%. Then the next comes is x-axis titles, which are going to be same, which are software to construction. That goes, you can say okay, and now you will see the same graph we are drawn by this method. So there are a lot of occasions where the first method doesn't work, so you can use this method. And now this is the growth, percentage growth chart, and always you can make a point that you make it RHS, okay, so that people know what the line is referring to, where to look, left or right. Now this was about combining multiple charts, which is very critical. Now when you want to represent 2 points together, okay, so in this case this is growth in EPS and this is the P multiple at which the stock is currently trading. So what we do is we select these data points. So it's a little different chart. Normally you will have company and a parameter, company and other parameter, so on and so forth. So here is a different chart, which is a scattered chart. So we will select just these two rows. Please remember, I am not selecting the company names over here. It doesn't give you right picture. So then again I go to charts, and then on scatter chart I click on scatter chart. Now this is how you get the scatter chart. So to have a better scatter chart, all that you need to do is go to this quick chart layouts and select any of the format that you would like to have. Okay, so I am just selecting the format number 5. Right, I think this is the format that I am looking forward to, where you can see all the data labels, and you will just remove this P and other names, and now you also have data labels. Okay, now data labels you have, but you don't have the names of the companies. To do that, you have to insert text box so that you can actually represent the names of the companies over here. So 1112 represents companies, so I have chosen the text box and I'm just typing ABB over here, uh, making its location proper, right clicking on this, format shape, and setting transparency, rather than I would say I don't want any line around it. So this is my ABB, and just copying this and I'm saying paste and dragging it over here. So 1819 is GMR, so I'm typing in GMR over here. Then I can just simply continue copy pasting the earlier cell over here, so I can just drag it to 2325, which is LNT. So LNT, then 2826 is Bhale, so I'm just pasting it over here. So 2826 is Bhale, and what remains is 3020, which is Siemens. So pasting the text box and taking it over here and just writing the name Siemens. Okay, formatting the text box little bit. So that's about it. So now if you observe this chart, this point represents a combination of 2 points, the PE and growth. Okay, and if you look at the chart and from valuation perspective, you would see the growth in EPS for Siemens is highest, whereas P multiple is quite below L&T and Bhale. So probably if they are in the similar sector, probably there is a scope for its P multiple to get revived. And there will be a lot of other occasions where you want to combine two parameters and represent them as a single point, and that is where the scatter chart will be of great help. Now you can also choose some different pointers, okay, for this scatter chart. Now in this case I have taken this as a circle, and then I'm just taking a marker fill to be this. I'm saying okay. So now this is how you can change your scatter chart as well. That's about it. So enjoy drawing charts. As I go ahead, I will share something more about charts, and that is really exciting, and specifically from corporate perspective its importance is very much high. Thank you very much.